to see and hear all the great programs that we have here on WNHHLP. And reminder, Cannabis Corner is also streaming live on the Greenhaven Media Facebook and YouTube page and procannabismedia.com. So make sure you go over, look us up there, like, subscribe, and share. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, January the 13th. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. I'm your host, Joe LaChance, Joe the Weed Guy. And I am joined here this week by the lovely and always cheerful Kristen Souza, hanging out in Kristen's corner. Uncle Lou has been ill, so I don't know if he's going to make it on the air with us today, but he has been a victim of that flu or whatever that is going around.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know have been sick. I spoke to my brother the other day. He's pretty much been sick since Christmas. So, yeah, that's going on. So best wishes out to Uncle Lou. Hope he gets well soon. He may or may not join us. But anyway, here we are. It's Monday. How are you, Kristen? What is going on in the corner? How was your weekend? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good. Weekend was lovely. The older human went back to college, so it was a lot of loading up her car. I don't know, anyone that's got like kids in college or remembering when you came home, she comes home for a couple of weeks and loads up the car like she's moving every time. So like, had a bunch
They
of
have
stuff.
to take everything back with them, right? They
Yeah,
can't leave anything there for 2 weeks, God
it's
forbid.
wild. I'm like, holy crap, how many clothes did you think you were gonna need? No, that was good. And we were saying before too, I'm like, I swear my household has been rotating some version of illness. I mean, one person had walking pneumonia, I think, and then another one just had a cold, then another one had something else. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Luckily,
crazy.
I have been hanging tough. I had a couple days where I was like kind of off and sniffly, but I don't want to jinx it. I think you and I are, I don't know,
We're all right.
taking our vitamins or something.
The kids are all right. I do take my vitamins every day.
How was your
And,
weekend?
my weekend was good. I took a nice, let's see, I went up to the Burn and Learn Center on Friday. And then I took a nice ride over to see our friends down there in Hamden at the Drip House.
Oh,
It was
nice.
very, very cool. Got to see good friend, Joe Raymond, Duncan was there, Dylan from Creamery Station, Cody, all the Can Warriors were there. It was very nice. Nice little gathering, little acoustic music, a lot of fun, and I want to just give a shout out to those guys.
Very cool.
And yeah, take a look out there if you see something called Patty O. That's a new market. That's a new gummy that's out there on the market. And I want to shout out Joe and Duncan for hooking me up, especially with this right here. So I want to just give a shout out to those guys. We got a lot of good things going on out here in the community, which I guess we should get to now. Do you have any events, Kristen?
You have been doing such a fabulous job, and admittedly, I have not been on keeping up with the events. Now, I don't know anything.
All right, let me get to what I have here because I do have quite a few.
Good. All right, awesome.
All right. So, first things first, tomorrow, over at Kimura's Cultural Corner, they're going to have a what is called a what do they call it? KCC in the community. It's from noon to 2. Fire in the Forge, and you can check that out on Kimura's Facebook page. Then we have here on the 17th, the Snowboard Club from Connecticut. So I guess on Friday the 17th at Ski Sundown, they are going to do a canna snowboarding. So that sounds like fun. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to Connecticut.com. Snowboarding on January 17th. Then on the 20th, that sounds different. I mean,
I like
mixing, it sounds fun, just don't smoke too much. It's not for me, but if you enjoy snowboarding, I'm sure it'll be a great time.
Yeah.
Then our good friend Kavnisha has a webinar going on the 22nd. That is Wednesday. That's from 10 to 2. That is Black Youth and Cannabis, a cry for help.
And this is
Yeah,
another one of those cool events, Joe, that is sanctioned by their regulatory agent, not the cannabis regulatory agent, but the Education Commission for social workers and therapists, and it will be giving educational credits.
I'm just reading the flyer right now, and that is exactly what it says.
That's
So
awesome.
this is a good opportunity for people, nurses, anybody in the medical industry who wants to get some credits and wants to learn about cannabis. This is great. And this is specifically focused on Black youth and cannabis, which is definitely an area that needs focusing on. So I think this is great. Kavnisha does some really awesome stuff out there in the community. And this is another one. So that's going to be on the 22nd of January. So check that out at www.kevnisha.com. So she's got her own website with her own name on it. Very nice.
She's
And
an
Lou,
awesome.
welcome. I didn't notice you were there because I was looking at the events.
Oh no, totally okay, Joe. I apologize for being a little tardy. I have been a little under the weather the last couple days. The flu has definitely kicked my butt. It has so apologize if I sound a little bit
Of
stuffy or
course.
whatever, but I'm doing what I can. I'm actually just a little update of our own because we have our own stuff coming up and you know that that's an awesome thing.
Yep.
Um just as most people here, I know you've got to keep going through your events, but most people have heard that Curaleaf has closed
I
two
was
of
going
their
to discuss that
locations.
today.
We'll talk
Yes.
about that a little bit,
I was going
which
to
is
talk to
interesting.
Kibra with that too.
Yep, yep, which is interesting. And, our guest today is Kibra as well as myself. I will be opening up in the beginning of February. And Kibra will be opening up very shortly as well, which is another reason why we have our wonderful partner and OG partner. You know what I mean?
That's
The
why we're
original,
having her on the show. She's going to talk about when she's opening.
right. So I know that both of us will be highlighting. We'll let her do all the discussion of all this later. But I'm at the North Haven location, kind of clearing out some old shelves and some production tables to move over to the dispensary because both Keeber and I are still very much grassroots. So we are doing everything we can, and this is the true idea. And I've been super open about my background in it. I had to take a really big loan from a private equity firm to get
Yep.
open because they did not make this able for regular people. But one of the cool things personally about the Curaleaf locations closing, and not to shame the equity owners, because the Curaleaf is blaming the equity owners, kind of making those equity owners the scapegoats on this. So they're blaming
Well,
the equity owners, and they're blaming their own lack of support from them. But we'll talk about more of that, which we aren't going to hang out those equity owners to dry. Let's
no,
always remember that.
actually, I know one of the equity owners, and
Right,
maybe
Kevin,
he was
correct?
Eric from
Eric
Willington.
Willington is, and then there's Kevin from Hartford, and I
So
think we
maybe we
should,
should have them on the show.
yeah,
I think
um,
I'll send a text message right after the show.
yeah, because it's not their fault. I don't believe it's their fault. So as much as Curaleaf will try to blame the little guy, if you're a large corporation like that, how are you even allowing your social equity partner to fail? You shouldn't be doing that at all.
Yeah, no, we'll have them on the show. I know Eric, and if you know the Hartford guy, let's get them both
Yep,
on the show. Maybe I think I have an opening right at the end of the month.
yep.
Get them
And
on.
so
Let's have them tell their story because you're right. I don't want Curaleaf blaming them because we all know whose fault it is if they close.
exactly. So we want to give a heads up to that. And as well as when we open, we're going to be highlighting the new social equity manufacturers that will be giving a lot of our shelf space too. So, one of the
Good.
biggest problems is dispensaries are opening and everybody's selling the same stuff.
Yep.
Hopefully by this September, by the end of this year, I'll be having my grow open. So we'll be able to uh, put out product, and, we just got to get through. I got to be able to pay some bills. I got to be able to get things open. But this is all now that logistical push. But we are going to highlight and give, and just like Kibra, we're going to give the. So this isn't just something that's socially exclusive to me because I know that Kibra is for running this as well. We'll both probably be giving a lot of shelf space to the new social equity owners. So, big shout
Yes.
out to Lorraine, cannabis manufacturer, the social equity cohort. Um, she just got her approval, so she's going to be making products, and she did it all on her own. She didn't get any inside help from anybody. So where I was able to get that loan to open the dispensary, she did the manufacturing, which was a lower cost of entry, and she did it all on her own. Man, I gotta say, man, she is a powerhouse.
All right. You
And
got to support her then.
yeah, we've got to. And you know what? This is such a small world. That is my cousin-in-law, apparently. So it is
Very
my
nice.
from
Got
New
to
York.
support her.
Yeah, my brother and her cousin have been together for 20 something years. We never met each other. We never did anything. And I guess one day at like Christmas a couple years ago, as everybody was getting licenses, it was, oh, my brother got a license. And she was like, oh, my cousin got a license. And oh, really? And then, crossing names and oh my God, you guys know each other. And, small world. You
Right.
know what I mean? So we're getting all set up. I'm putting floors down, security's getting down. It's
Yeah, I
that
took a
mad
little
rush.
tour last week. It was very nice up there, Lou. A lot of progress going on from the last time I saw it. So
Yep.
I got to give you a lot of props. It looks like the timeline is finally coming together. And I
I
think you'll be
appreciate it.
having an announcement soon about your grand opening date.
Yes, but the one thing I do want people to know, and this is part of the events, I have a large uh 15-foot by 15-foot wall with spotlights on it that we were looking to highlight local New Haven area, New Haven County artists
Right.
to showcase your artwork for about a month or 2 months. We'll have you can put your contact under the painting or whatever the artwork is so that if people that come in like it and want to buy it, we'll send it to you. We will not charge anybody for this. We are just asking that you give a 10% donation to one of our community-based partners. So if you sell an art piece for $250, we just ask that maybe you send $25 over to the Shack or a new next level empowerment. That's all. So we're not looking to make
Very
anything
nice.
off of it. We want to support the community. We want to get you some exposure. This is what we're doing. So not giving shelf space to the larger MSOs, giving more shelf space and exposure to the newer social equity owners like Lorraine's Cannabis, like Soundview Cannabis, who's a Navy veteran owner, family mother. They're a young couple, but he's a Navy vet. Him and his fiance. Then we have Rodeo Cannabis, who is Cuban owned. So there's a
Yeah,
couple,
we
and
got a
then
lot of new ones coming up.
Yeah,
Brian is opening up.
and Brian, Connecticut Cannabis Company is opening up. So we want to highlight those individuals.
That's right. That's what we got to do. We got to support our community. All right. Speaking of that, let's finish up these events because there
Yep.
are quite a few and they're interesting. I got one
It's
here.
that time again, Joe.
That's right. Beginning of the year. 24th of January, cannabis infused mocktail tasting. That will be at Advanced Telemedicine over there in Orange. That's our good friend Michelle and Judy over there. Mocktail tasting, cannabis infused mocktail tasting, January 24th from 6 to 8 p.m.
I
Then
think they're
on,
doing that with somebody else, right?
yeah, it doesn't say here on the flyer, but yeah, there is somebody doing it in conjunction with them.
I think it's Nubian Wellness,
Oh, okay.
which we know and we will always continue to support. And happy birthday to you as well, dear. You've continued to blossom into an amazing cannabis advocate and educator. She just finished her series in West Haven at West Haven Library and has continued to get those state-funded grants and those other wellness grants that continue to provide free education to a lot of people. But yeah, I believe, and once again, advanced telehealth medicine has been a great landing point for so many people as
Yeah,
a small accelerator for everybody. The small business SS, it's better than me.
that's right. No, it's good. They're great over there. If you want to get your medical card, they got great deals. They take good care of you. Both people have been in the industry for a while, and they are going to be hosting events every month. once a month. And this is their first one of the year.
Yep.
So that we should look forward to that. And I will be going because I want to taste some infused mocktails.
I'm
Then,
always for some tasty beverages.
and then on the 25th, we got a cloning workshop. That is going to be
Mhm.
with our friends at Shoreline Hydroponics. That's
Yep.
at noon. That's Saturday the 25th. That's up there in Westbrook. You can find out more at Shoreline Hydroponics.
And
And
they
then,
are great people, Joe. You know, we had them on the show.
yeah,
Chad's a good guy. He's doing great work with our good friend Duncan as well. If you go
yep.
to Duncan Better Ways, you'll see a bunch of the products there. Um, you know, I think one of the dopest things that we have been able to do is meet so many really cool people. So even talking
Yeah.
about these events is really awesome.
Yeah, they're everybody. And this is another one here now, Canna Yoga Company, who we had on the show. And we actually talked about this on the air doing it. Well, now it's a reality. Canna Yoga Company, and in conjunction with the Grove and with the Burn and Learn Center and with Greenhaven Media, are going to be doing a series of Canna Yoga events down at the Grove in Milford. Anybody knows the Grove? It was a place that actually I helped to start and, got going. And then when the pandemic hit, we had to close. But now we're trying to get it open up again and get some more events going on in there
Oh, and it's going, Joe. You had a couple really nice events over the last couple
already.
weeks
Yeah.
that were packed. That were absolutely packed.
Yep.
So,
And so now we got this on the 27th. That goes from 6:30 to 8:30. Greenhaven Media is going to be supplying the goodie bags. So, that ought to be fun. Sign up. You want to know more about that? Canna Yoga, you can go to the Burn and Learn, or you can go to the Salt and Oil Yoga. I
mhm.
believe that's still the website, and you can check that out. So it's a good time. The Grove is a great place. You got the head shop right next door. Some good clothing over there if you want to shop for that.
Great
And
clothes.
yeah, great clothing, really unique
Joe, I'm
stuff.
a hippie.
Yeah.
People need to understand. You hear the term bohemian, understand it's hippie. You know what I
It's
mean?
hippie. Exactly right. It's hippie. But yeah, I want to give them a shout out. So yeah, all that stuff we talked about it on the air, but that's all happening now. And we're gonna finally get more stuff going on in there. But yeah. So that'll be great. That starts the 27th, and then there are two other dates, February 10th and the 24th. So it's a three-part series, but you can join anytime. It's for beginners, advanced. Of course, the Grove is consumption friendly, and it'll be a great time. I'm really, really looking forward to that first event. So that'll be on the 27th. All right. So we are waiting. Did Kibra join us yet? Yes, there is Kibra. All right. So our guest is here, and we do have a lot to talk about because, of course, this made news not only this weekend, but also I was on the air talking about it with Chaz and AJ. So with us right now is Kiva Smith Bolden, and she is referred to as the marijuana guru in Connecticut
And
by
myself.
Hot 93.7's Nancy Barrow.
Oh
Kibra
Lord.
has taken the can. You want to skip the intro, Kibra?
Yeah, man. That sounds like an old something.
Well, I got off LinkedIn. Then you're gonna have to change your LinkedIn bio.
I know. I gotta do it. I gotta
All
do it.
right, I'm gonna let you tell us what's going on with Kibra. As you know, Kibra Smith Bolden, Kibra LaShawn Smith, just Queen Kibra, has been around for a long time in the industry, along with Lou and I. I kind of look at like the three of us came up together. I remember the first day you walked into the school, we sat and talked about Connecticut and all that stuff, and you made it through those classes, and you know, we all kind of bonded because we were all coming up right around the same time.
Yep.
And it's been a long, long journey. You were a co-host of the show. We've done educational stuff together. We've done Canna Health together. We've done all kinds of stuff together. And now you're at the point where your dream, now this has been your dream since I've known you. You wanted to have a dispensary. You wanted to have, you wanted to support your community by supplying them with good quality cannabis, and you've always been that way, supporting your community through Canna Health, through all the other efforts we've done with the education and everything. And now it's finally coming to fruition. How does it feel, Keep? All right. That's a look. All right. Tell us a little bit about this journey. Journey from Canna Health, where you were giving out the medical marijuana referrals, really supporting, actually expanding to the point where you've got your license and now you're climbing to open up. How's the journey? Tell us a little bit about the journey, the pitfalls, the ups and downs.
Huh.
I want you to notice one thing. You, me, and Lou. Look at the colors.
Oh, are we all in red?
Yes, we are.
I don't see Lou. Where's Lou? Oh, there. Wait. Oh, hi, Harry. Kristen.
There we are.
I didn't get the memo. I'm in green.
That's all right. Green and red go together, like Chris.
I couldn't see all the people. Absolutely, green and red go together. Okay. Let's see. So my journey has been interesting, but it definitely has had a lot of ups and downs. And I think for me right now, I'm just really disappointed in like everything. The
Okay.
way the industry has begun to develop
Unfolded here.
yeah, it's really disappointing. I remember sitting in rooms talking about like how we were gonna pull out a map and we would kind of like map out how the social equity applicants where they would put their dispensaries and we would work together. And let me tell you, all of
We
that
had a whole nother idea of how social equity would work and how the state thought it would work.
Absolutely. And so, it's just been a challenge. But yes, first of all, I had to sell my interest in Canna Health around the time of licensure because I was told that was what I had to do. That because as a certifier, I couldn't be a cultivator, so I had to get rid of my business. So, that was one thing that ended up being, I don't think is that true, or,
They did it to Lou too. He had to sell his hemp license too.
Yep. So, they immediately, this industry like kind of cut off some of our resources and, our ability to contribute to this industry as we had been doing, as we're pursuing these licenses. And then, the things that were supposed to be in place for social equity, I'd say there's very few actual social equity operator owners. There are people who are social equity qualifying individuals with license. I mean, they, qualify, so they have every right to have one, I guess. But like they're not going through the processes that we are. Like they have a large machine behind them with unlimited amounts of money and they are just plowing forward. I will say originally I was partnered with Acreage, a pretty large MSO.
Received a lot of controversy for that.
Yep, I had a lot of pushback about it, and realistically, at the time, they make it impossible. If I could have done it on my own, I would have done it on my own. But at the time, looking for someone willing to pay $3 million for cultivation and to support dispensaries financially and with technical assistance and all of that stuff, to me, it made the most sense. I'm a nurse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to run. I don't know how to run a cultivation. I don't know how to run a dispensary necessarily. So I chose to go with someone who I thought had those skills and abilities. I'm so glad that things didn't work out.
Right. Because look at what's happened to the company.
Yep, look what's happened to the company. Look what has happened, in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, like I'd rather take. 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 I'd rather as much time as I need to get up and running, and have to find new financial partners or do whatever I have to do so that I am sure that, the people I'm partnered with not only say that they're about community and, really are concerned with, righting the wrongs of the drug war, but actually are about it.
Right.
And so I hope no one would ever think that, I got with Acreage and was like, hey, I'm gonna get along and go along with everything you got going on or whatever your plans are, because that absolutely is not the case.
Obviously.
Right. The case was that, like, when I saw that we weren't aligned, that things weren't, working out, or things that we discussed, as far as how we were going to give back to the community and the education we were going to provide, etc., wasn't done, then, I was happy to end that situation. Which put me in a position to the midway. Now we have this wild kind of, everybody can get a license through joint ventures and all this other stuff, and the industry and the market not looking so great. In the middle of that, I had to go and try to raise more money.
Right.
So that made things very difficult, to raise money, especially for cultivation. I won't say that I had to do a whole lot of searching high and low for someone to fund a dispensary. People get excited about dispensaries. Oh, it's a dispensary.
It's a little lower investment too, right?
Yeah, lower investment for entry or cost of entry. But, the thing with here is that people who understand this business and this industry understand that it's necessary for us to make products. The people who are, I will say some of the micro cultivators who have come online in the last year or so, some of them are making decent or good products, but the four horsemen and, the people who have been around this whole time, like, they make crap.
I like that. The four horsemen. I like of the apocalypse.
Right. Like, kind of how it feels, like, the products are, so now we have all these dispensaries in all these towns, people with multiple dispensaries across the state of Connecticut, and we're all selling the same thing.
And we see what's happened now. Lou's joining in now. We were talking about this at the top of the show, and I believe this is just the first of many victims. Two higher collectives closed over the weekend, in the new year. One in Willington and one in Hartford. Now we know who they were backed by. They're both backed by Curaleaf and one of the horsemen. And they're now, Curaleaf is now coming out and blaming the equity partners. When
right.
And everybody else knows, where the fault lies. And I'm not going to say some of the fault is not within the marketplace, that there wasn't the business there, because I can imagine in Willington, if anybody knows where Willington is, it had to be kind of tough, doing it up there. Okay, but Hartford, come on.
Well, they also they made such a, when you're working with like a Curaleaf, they're not paying these social equity partners. They're not doing the right thing for the individual. They're not, and then they're making them spend even more money and putting them in debt, and they're looking to take their money first. They're not doing things to better the community, like Keeper was saying. So, I'm happy Keeper did what she did and made sure she did what she did. And I took a big loan to make it happen, and my partners are almost non-existent, which leaves me to figure it out. But that's a good thing.
It is a good thing, but it also is like for instance, you, Lou, like somebody is, is that people always ask me, why aren't you open yet? And I'm gonna start responding when people ask me that. How long did it take you to open your dispensary?
I'm not open.
Tell me my question.
Yeah. Huh? Oh, I'm not open.
No, I know, but that's my point. Like,
exactly.
People.
Oh, I get that question.
Yeah, where's your dispensary? Right.
Like, why are you and Lou open? We see all these other people open it. It's a whole. Although Lou has had which I, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Lewis had consistent financial partners, and to an extent, I don't know, good,
Yeah.
bad, indifferent.
Yep,
You
yep.
had that consistently, but you're still the one. You're an owner.
Oh yeah.
You're the one writing the plans. You're the
Yep.
one designing the facility. You're the one hiring the staff. Anybody else that's opening, they're not doing that.
No, that's true. I talked to the Willington people. I knew them pretty well.
Yeah.
So, and
They
that's
didn't do
where-
nothing. They just
No.
were name only.
And so
Right.
this is where I'm going to credit that to Kebra, to Joe, to myself, to Ellen, to the people that were before us in Massachusetts, to the people in Maine. I went and got my own lawyer. I made sure my lawyer read everything. I made sure and I will be the first to say they 100% tried to sneak in every one of those predatory lending things. And this is where the state of Connecticut did one of the reasons why I'm not open. The state of Connecticut did catch it as I red flagged it. I said, these are stereotypical predatory lending things. The state of Connecticut said, yep, you're right. And they denied my application. They denied my agreement. They said, no, this is a predatory agreement. This does not put Mr. Vega at the forefront. And, sometimes you have to take that step back, just as Kebra did, to move forward in a place that keeps you a little bit more safe. So yeah, it took me I'm going on 3 years, so you know exactly what it is, Kebra.
But the difference is that we are owner operators. Like, we are the ones going through these processes. I'm trying to think, is there any other one? Like, of all the people who are licensed who are actually every day these decisions without a machine behind
Not
them?
that I know
No,
of.
I believe
No,
you
there's
and
the one up there, Stillwater. He's all himself, but he's
but that was a
way up in
medical provider
and
before.
then he went to rec. Right.
Right. He was a medical provider, and that's
But he has stayed independent.
And he sold one of his licenses, so bless his heart.
Yeah.
I met those guys. They're interesting folk.
But you
but
two guys are pretty much it.
But Kebra and I are literally the only ones that don't, like, we are our flagship locations. Everybody else has something from someplace else with a plan, with people to help, with,
Well, yeah, we look at other people from our community.
Which we're not knocking.
We're not knocking, but they already have 5 dispensaries open, right? And this is somebody who run the roads with us, and they already have 5 dispensaries open. Why? Because they partnered with somebody who had that knowledge in other states. So,
and their role isn't to make
it's
those
PR. It's PR pretty much.
Right. And like I said, like, the person you're talking about is a person I love deeply. Like,
Deeply. All of us.
Huge shout out to Jocelyn. We absolutely love her. She's a great member of the community. She's going to do what she needs to make things happen on her side. We believe that 100%.
And I believe she picked good partners. They're not one of the big 4. They're, I believe they're looking out for her pretty much. And like you said, she's in a PR role. She's doing what she did. But yeah, I love her. I give her a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
Here's one of those crazy things. And this is just a shout out to see where things align. Big shout out to Next Level Empowerment, to which Keeper is a board member of.
Yes, I am.
And that's my community partner. So not only do I have to hold myself responsible, but I have my mentors and friends like Kebra that get to hold me responsible. I have Joe that gets to hold me responsible. I have my next door neighbor, Alderwoman Honda Smith, to hold me responsible. These are community stakeholders, not people that are equity stakeholders. They're community stakeholders. We're part of the Westville Community Alliance Group. We're part of the Amity Management Team. I show up to all those meetings. I still get beat up every one of those meetings. It's amazing how somebody doesn't know at this long that I'm opening a dispensary in the space, or that Kebra is putting a space. They're like, how am I going to object this? I'm like, it's been approved by the state, by the town, by the. You can come by and buy something and argue with me if you want. I just show up. I'll listen to you.
Yeah, you're always going to get that pushback, from the community in certain little pockets. but it seems like where both of you are located, are in areas that really have some decent community organizations that really do help within those areas. You know, I know in Westville, and I know where you're located, keep it the same thing. That
I
are
mean,
gonna
and when you're from a place, and this is the other thing too, like, people are opening 4 or 5 multiple dispensaries or whatever, but like, where's the real relationship? Like, there's not really a relationship in these communities, and it makes it really hard. I just wish it could have been what we envisioned.
yeah.
People who
Oh
come
yeah,
from a community, put a dispensary in a community, we
yeah.
see how that goes. Like, I
People
honestly
who
feel like,
actually were affected by the war on drugs. That
yeah,
was our thing, where the
right,
applicant, it was
yes,
about the applicant, not the location.
yes,
Right.
Making it location based made it allow for a lot of shenanigans.
Well,
This-
it's yeah. So it's pretty interesting. So Kibra your opening. If you just share the location again, so that people know where you
yeah.
are. Emphasize that you're literally from New Haven again. If people don't know where you're from at this point, they're silly at this point. But
I didn't even try to convince them no more. But I'm at 169 East Street.
yes,
It used to be a place called R Bar, Stage
yep,
Door Johnny's. It's right off the highway.
yep.
Building. It's really, really a great
It's
location. I'm
by the water.
by
It's
the
by the
water.
highway. You
So
can see the river.
yeah,
It's
all
a
of that.
beautiful historic building, nice brick building that you look at it from the outside, you're like, wow, this is from the turn of the industry. And I love that architecture. And you have a nice footprint there, big parking lot, you know, big open spaces in the area. If you've ever been in the space, it's awesome. Um, just congratulations, and we look forward to it opening.
how's the progress coming, Kira? Have you
Progress is coming, going fine. Like, the build out is pretty much done. I changed my license. So this is the other problem that I'm running into, is that, like, I definitely have great allies on the Social Equity Council and in the executive offices of the Social Equity. I mean, we all should, because we're
has the
so,
change in management helped both of you guys? Have you found a difference in the change in leadership in the Equity Council?
well, I mean, I know Brandon. I've
Yeah,
known Brandon, like, from when we were
from back in
Right,
the
when we
day.
were trying to
yeah,
get legalization, he was a
Right.
legislator, right?
yes. So I do feel like it is good to have someone in that position who understands and respects the role. I mean, for me specifically, I like the fact that we have someone in a position who understands the role that I played, that Lou played, and, like, bring this all to fruition. I still think at the end of the day, and so I'm appreciative to have him in that position. I haven't necessarily had any problems.
Right.
But I do think that the issue continues to be that the people are on the council making decisions about how these businesses are run and timelines and so on and so forth. They have no idea what's going on. So, like, right now, I had to change my license from hybrid because I couldn't find pharmacists.
That's been such, and I will throw that out there. And this is where, just as operating a business, that's an extra $500,000 a year expense. It is a pharmacy doctorate. These are doctorates that have to be in there every hour you're open. So now you're incurring, and this is where people complain that the prices are high. And this is the crazy legislation. Like, we would love to have medical, but to have a pharmacist on the entire time that you're there, it's tough because it adds $500,000 to your overhead to find somebody that wants to work in the cannabis space. And then if you were going to hire 4 pharmacists to cover your 7 days, four and minimum wage for a pharmacist is $150,000. That's what they make at CVS, Walgreens, and Kibra, correct me if I'm wrong. So it adds $500,000 to your overhead. So if
Yeah.
you were going to try to be equitable and provide low cost pricing, what's your choice? Maintain medical and have to charge higher prices for the recreational because medical doesn't get taxed and they get a lower price range, or go recreation. So I do applaud you, and I understand exactly where you're at and what you have to do. I 100%. And sometimes people don't understand those logistical issues. They're like, well, why are you not looking?
Yeah, you
I'm
don't care about
actually trying
medical
to make it
patients.
cheaper for you.
Yeah, I absolutely care about medical patients. I'm a nurse. I started
Right.
the health. These were all this
Hey,
always.
this is the thing, Keeper. You've seen how terrible it is now. How
Yes.
it's gone from what it was to what it is.
Yes, and so I feel like sometimes we're judged about the decisions that we make, and people don't really understand the background, like what happened to lead us to making certain decisions. Like, I didn't all of a sudden just wake up and not care about medical patients. Like, it
No.
just was that I tried. Like, I literally changed my license. I originally had an adult use license. I changed to hybrid to be able to support the medical market, but could not find pharmacists. Was willing to pay that $500,000, put it in my budget and take the L, like, so that I could stay true to, who I am as a nurse and all this other stuff, but it just didn't work, and so there are a lot of things, and I feel like, from the council to the executive committee, like, they don't understand all of the things. They understand their role, their part, but they don't understand, like, all of the things that go in it. So, like, for instance, my license won't be approved for another month or so, right? Because I guess they think I have time, because I wanted to open in March. But they don't understand that if I get approved in February, I still have to now pay for my provisional license. So however long that takes to process and pay. And then once I pay for my provisional license, I have to go now and get a final inspection. And that final inspection, who knows how long it's going to take to schedule that. So
Weeks, little nerves. He'll tell you.
I pray to God it doesn't take weeks. Let's say it takes a week. Like, let's just say it's gonna take another week. So now we're 2 weeks after approval. And then once I get my final inspection, I have to pay for my final license. And that's gotta be processed or whatever. And then once I get my final license, then I can start buying product.
But you got
And
to hire too. So I'll throw that out there. You
yeah.
can't hire until you get your final inspection, and it takes 2 weeks to vet your employees. Each employee costs $300. So now,
Well,
if you hire,
I was told though we could start that process early. So I don't know. I was told that we could get the background checks at least done in advance because they last for a year.
right?
So that's a good thing. But anyway, so I'll be working on that. But then the social equity plan has to be approved, and you can't submit a social equity plan until you have a provisional license. So, like, all of these things. Oh, and then I didn't finish talking about the inventory. I can't just say, listen, I want to open next week. Here's $100,000. Stock my
Go
shelf.
buy stuff, right?
It doesn't work like that. I'm gonna have to take $10,000, maybe purchase some stuff next week. Another like this is it's a process, and I just feel like sometimes it's a bit of a failure to not understand the process before you make decisions. And
I'll throw one thing out there. I think that this comes from where they're getting their input from. I think that the four horsemen, as you've called them and dubbed them, 100% have way too much influence, even on the social equity side. And I think that some of the more lesser evils that may not be evils, but kind of have self-interest that don't necessarily align with us, nor the larger manufacturers and cultivators, because they have their own set of issues. Like, you know what I mean? I love Fine Federal as a group. Ben was a great guy and still is.
Right.
But,
Well, he's been there since the beginning.
I'm like, what happened to Ben? You like, Ben was a great guy, like he died or something?
No, Ben's a great guy. Still another guy that will pick up my phone call anytime I call, answer any text.
Me too.
Very supportive. But now he's a multi-state operator. Like I said, sometimes things that happen, which gives him experience in other markets, which gives him experience in a lot of places. And he's got a good amount of influence, and I think he uses his influence for good. Sometimes it could be shared sometimes, but that's everybody's got an opinion. Um, but then you get people like Curaleaf who's got way too much influence because they just look at how many locations they have in the state, because a quarter of the market is Curaleaf, even if they're not doing the best. You know, then we have an entire cultivator that didn't transition to adult use because they're not making enough money to transition to adult use. You know what I mean? So even as those start to dwindle, now it's going to need us. Like, I am knocking on wood, hoping and praying. And if everything does go the way it needs to, I'll have plants in the ground in June, knock on wood, with products out by September. And, you know, we would look to stock people like you, people like me, so that we have new products. You know, once again, big shout to Lorraine's Cannabis, to Soundview, to the other social equity to Brian, Connecticut Cannabis. You know, these are all local manufacturers now that are getting up and running, and they are trying to get themselves going. And, you know, that's where it's our responsibility to give them the shelf space to make it happen, you know, to help highlight them, to help push their products. So we have a responsibility, and the legislators or the Social Equity Council themselves, I think, can definitely spend the time to reach out to us a little bit more, as we have definitely reached out to them 1,000 times. Not that there's a huge issue too much nowadays, but you know,
there's still that lack of complete understanding. Like you mentioned, like how some of the larger operators, you know, affect some of the decisions that are made. At the same time, too, some of the people who are you know, it's just like, why are you having an issue? People are opening dispensaries all the time, and they're not really understanding the machines that are behind the other people who are doing it. We're being compared unfairly to people with, you know, a whole process behind them. But, you know, it is what it is. I try to keep the heart of why I decided to do this in the forefront of my mind, like at all times, like, and, you know, continue, like, even, you know, people don't even understand, like, job creation. Like, job creation has to be limited because we're looking at a market where there's, you know, it's been flooded and overflowing. So it makes it hard for me to even, like, hire the number of people I wanted to hire, because there's, you know, 5 stores around me that aren't even making any money. So how can I justify, you know, having 5 extra employees on hand? I can't, you know. So, you know, my hands are a little tied, but they have been before. I'm from the hood, you know. I'm real social equity. Like, I'm used to not having enough, not having resources, not having support, you know, and getting it done. So I'm just thankful to be still on this path, even though it's not what I want, not how I want it.
Rocky road.
So I would say one last thing as we go, and this is Kibra, maybe you agree. This is that call to the community, because no matter what, we need you guys to help support us. So if you're not going to spend your money other places, spend your money with us. We can't blow up the whole system. We want to make it work, but we still got to be able to survive, to be at the table, you know, making it work. So if you're going to support, come down and support us. Do your shopping with us. If it means you got to drive an extra 5 or 6 minutes, both of us are right off the highways, different highways.
Yeah, you both got New Haven covered. Like, realistically, you're on both ends of New Haven. You're at the Woodbridge side there, Lou, and you're over on the other side, Keeper. So yeah, if you want to, we just talked all about. They're really talking about the only really 2 people here who are doing it themselves.
From scratch.
Without
a machine. They're the machines. Here's the machines right here.
Her and I will both be at our location every day, 7 days a week.
We'll be there. You will not.
Yeah, right. You're not going to walk into Shangri-La and go hang out. And I'm not saying this in a bad way.
No.
But you're not going to see Jocelyn. You're not going to go see Tiana Hercules at the other dispensary there. You know, you're not going to see them. But you know, when you go down to Nautilus or to Lit, you're going to see Lou or Kibra.
Yeah,
you're my key.
And your team.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean?
So you might
You'll
actually
see
see
us.
somebody who look like me too.
So you'll see us there. We
And you
want to
might
be
even
there.
see me there. I may come down, be guest bartenders at both your places. I would love that.
I
Because
think
we're
we got to
sticking
make
to
it
the
work.
heart of who we are. You know, like I will still have education.
Yep.
I will still
Yeah.
have presentations. Like we are still, you know, the only thing that has been, you know, a hindrance over the last couple of years is like this process has
Yeah.
kept me from being able to really touch the community regarding cannabis the way I like. I'm on boards, as Lou said. You know, I work with reentry folks. I work with violence intervention. I work with post violence,
Hospice
work.
people, you're helping hospice people.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, I do a lot of things, so I'm able to stay community, and this should just add to it, hopefully in a few months. So
That's right. Add to your repertoire. It'll give you the hub.
yes, yes. And just to say too, just to throw it out here, I was asked to help sponsor a concert that's Sunday. It's going to be at the Schubert Theater. It is sponsored by Lit New Haven, and is like an old school R&B concert with Life Jennings, Kiki Wyatt, Sunshine Anderson, Horace Brown, and Christopher Williams, one of my
Oh,
favorite.
nice. And you're the sponsor.
Yeah, so come through. It's Sunday. There's no work the next day. It's Martin Luther King Day the next day. So it's at the Schubert in New Haven. And these are the events that Lit New Haven will be a part of bringing. So we're going to bring the culture. The culture is missing, but we're going to bring it back.
I said, now we got cannabis. Now, will it be a consumption-friendly event?
No, it's at the Schubert Theater.
Oh, okay. But you could go outside.
Yeah, you could definitely go outside. And I got some plans for how we can, make it.
Yeah.
I got some plans. So
I know Lou does too. I mean, that's the thing. People just got to be patient.
yeah.
Things are coming together. 2025 will be the year. Hopefully, obviously you and I have all talked about our disappointment in the way the legislator in the state did legalization, but there's always room for growth. There's always room for change as long as we have hope and we keep our boots to the ground, and keep doing the work.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But we're almost out of time, Kibra. Give us a little bit how people can get in touch with you, where they can find you on social media, and a little bit of a plug for Lit New Haven.
Sure. I do need people to go to Instagram and follow Lit New Haven. So you just LIT New Haven. And if you follow it, we're trying to build up our followers on Instagram. And my name, Kibra Smith Bolden on Facebook, and K Breezy 494 on Instagram. And my website is, up and running. It's going to be litconnecticut.com and litnewhaven.com. So, look out for us to start, putting coming soon things, and letting you know what we're working on. Right now I'm just waiting for license. So as soon as my license is approved, I'm gonna go through all that stuff I just said. So bear with us.
Kiva, we're gonna get you going, and we're looking forward to Lit Dispensary opening. But meanwhile, I want to thank you for all the great work you do and you have done in the community.
Thank
you. It's not over yet. That's all. It's not over yet. Lou.
Yeah, and I gotta call you, Joe, about that project. We got some traction.
All right, good. All right, Lou, any last words? I think he's probably on another call. He's been a busy man lately. All right, so with that, there he is.
Stay
There you
happy,
go.
healthy, and high, my friends.
All right.
See ya.
Kristen, we got a big announcement next week. We'll see you next week. Kristen, any last words?
No, Kibra, fabulous as always. It was great seeing your face. And everyone have a great week.
Next week, we got a big announcement, Kristen. We'll talk about it then.
I can't wait to hear it. See y'all later.
All right. And for everybody else, follow us, like, share, subscribe at Green Haven Media. Follow me at Joe the Weed Guy and at Cannabis Corner Radio. Thank you very much. And we will see you next week. Harry, hit that music.
Welcome to Cannabis Corner, where all of your questions
Love you all. We'll see you next week.